Welcome back to Spooky Movie Monday. Today we watched Frankenstein.
Which, for once, they correctly made it so that Frankenstein is the doctor.
Doctor, not the monster. The
Yeah.
monster is called the monster.
Because I remember, I think
Appreciate
I said this at the end of the Dracula thing. I was like, is this where the whole miscommunication for that started? And I guess not, because they did it correctly. So
Yeah, no,
But-
it's actually not here. I have no idea then when that whole thing became a
I
thing.
guess
But
the other thing too is that usually I feel like in like renditions of Frankenstein, they always focus on like the monster and like the evil like mastermind mad scientist guy kind of like gets killed off relatively early.
yes,
And then it's like these random people have to deal with the monster instead of like the actual creator.
yeah, because the whole crux of the original Frankenstein narrative is that, it's Victor Frankenstein tracking down his
Not Henry.
monster and trying to destroy him. But oh my god, okay. So in this movie, they switched two people's names. They switched Victor Frankenstein's name with Henry. I don't remember his last name, but basically they switched it so that
What?
Henry and Victor. So it's Henry Frankenstein and Victor some
I think it was
other character
Moritz.
that was minor
Yeah,
originally.
Moritz.
Moritz, right? Oh yeah, I remember what happened to that person. But they switched their names, and in the beginning I was like, oh my god, why did they do this? Like, it makes it kind of confusing to me because I had read this like maybe relatively recently, like within the last 5 years, and I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah, I don't
why did they do this?
understand the reasoning behind that because it's not like one name is better than the other name.
They didn't
Really?
drastically change Dr. Frankenstein's character like a whole lot. Like, I guess they made him like
Still
a bit.
wuss.
He's still a wuss, but he's a little tiny bit less of a wuss. Not by much, because like in the book, he gets sick for like 2 months after like hearing that his younger brother died from the monster murdering him. So there are many arcs that are missing from the narrative that is actually in this movie.
There's many deaths that are missing from this movie.
That too.
except for like the greatest death of all.
Little Maria.
Oh my god, that was just when he just picks her and just throws her in the lake. It was fucking hilarious. I don't know. Just
I
like
was just like, wait, is she gonna like swim up?
because it's not a deep. It doesn't look like it's a deep lake, and it's like okay. And then of course like the whole thing about how the Frankenstein's monster like chokes out. Was that Victor Boris? I don't know. Whatever. Chokes out the guy, but like he chokes him like from behind, which like
That doesn't make any
no.
sense.
So like it's just I don't know. I will say, like in terms of okay, I think Dracula was like a kind of put together better as a movie, but like I found this
Yeah.
way more entertaining. So
This was funnier. Like after I got past the names, it was quite funny.
yeah,
I guess the thing that I like found kind of like ironically hilarious is that the way that Frankenstein's monster like reacts and stuff. I was like, this is how it feels like to live in 2020 in a COVID era.
Oh yeah.
Like when they
just
put
being
him
like
in a
confused
room.
and scared of everything, and just like
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when he was forced to stay inside and he's like reaching for the sunlight and everything, it's like, yep, I know that feel.
April 2020 mood.
God, it's just, I don't know. There's just so many things that this and like the whole thing. Okay, no. It was when the monster ends up in is it Elizabeth's? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yes,
her
Elizabeth's.
room, and then like she screams, and then he screams, and then she screams again. It was just like I don't know. There's just so many scenes. They're just like funny, and I don't think they're supposed to be funny, but they are. Like I legitimately wonder because their whole thing is that, like in the beginning of this movie, at the very beginning, there's like this like PSA about like you might find this too scary or something, and I'm like, did people in the 30s actually get really scared from this? Because like that'd be hilarious, honestly.
This movie was funny.
Yeah.
Apparently, when I read some of the things on the Wikipedia page, some of the states had, well, the scene where little Maria gets thrown into the lake apparently was like really controversial. So a lot of states actually asked the film to be cut, like to cut that scene out.
Oh my
and
god.
apparently Kansas asked the filmmakers to cut like 32 scenes from the movie, which
32?
would effectively half the movie.
Americans are just pansies, like
yeah.
exactly like Victor Frankenstein.
I mean, the thing again, like I specifically looked this up because they brought out a bunch of wine at some point, and I was like, wait a minute, this was made in 1931. Was it Prohibition during this time? And it was. So, I mean, considering America thought that banning alcohol was a good idea at the time, then but yeah, just I'm like. Yeah, I see there's a whole thing in here about censorship history, but...
This is such a great comedy, though.
I know.
This is like an alternate universe where Victor Frankenstein never woke up, and then this ended up being his fever dream.
Oh my god.
And then he wakes up and actually has to deal with the monster. I'm just gonna say, if you haven't read the original Frankenstein, I do recommend it. It's very interesting. Like,
It's
it's
very
not
good.
my favorite book, but I think it has a lot of interesting things to say about humanity. So, yeah. Who is the real monster is always the question.
This is I did read this at some point, but it was just a very long time ago, so I don't remember it very well. Okay, so here's a couple things that are interesting behind the scenes. So, because, again, both this and Dracula came out the same year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this movie was actually, like, made because Dracula was popular. So they somehow, like, literally made this movie start to finish in less than a year.
What?
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's impressive, actually.
So that's something. Okay, okay. I think these are like legitimate reviews, like maybe from like newspapers at the time,
Oh.
because this is actually kind of hilarious. So it says like Film Daily called the picture gruesome, chill-producing, and an exciting drama. Are you sure?
10 out of 10 comedy.
I know, like this is. What? New York Times film critic Mordaunt Hall gave Frankenstein a very positive review. He said that the film, quote, aroused so much excitement at the Mayfair yesterday that many in the audience laughed to cover their true feelings. No, I think they might have just been laughing.
I think they were just laughing.
This is just... this is kind of funny, but... What?
Just, your feel-good Halloween movie.
The movie was banned in China under a category of, quote, superstitious films due to its, quote, strangeness.
Oh my god.
What?
Okay. Oh man, this is just... Yeah. Wait, hold on. Okay, so let me see when these are released. Okay, so this... Yeah, so this movie was specifically released in November of 31, whereas Dracula was February 31.
10 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or well, like more like 9 months actually. And
9
again,
What the heck?
that's
How?
literally from like the very beginning to releasing in theaters. So that's very quick. That's impressive.
Impressive.
Let me look this up. How long did it take to film?
Because actually, speaking of filming, because this is something that we got wrong about Dracula. We said that it was about like filming on location. It was pretty much all sets actually, but that's still impressive that they put all those sets
pretty
together.
Impressive.
And
Like,
I assume that's true
set
for this as well.
designs and everything.
Yeah. So the set design for this also works well.
They burnt a windmill.
Yeah, that was the fuck. Oh my god. Yeah, like it's impressive on like that scale. But yeah, I found this quite entertaining.
There's also a lot more. I think Valen, you noticed this. But there's a lot more sound in this film too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot fewer
Exactly.
like silent moments, or at least
Yeah.
quiet moments. The whole ending. We were saying this how like there's all these people like yelling as they're running around looking for the monster, and all these dogs barking, but the barking sounds really weird and like it's like almost like a donkey, and like it's just so much noise, and it's just like it's too much,
Yeah.
And part of it is also it's just not really their fault, but like the sound quality is not great, so it's just like this like noise in your head that you can't really pay any attention to. So, but yeah.
Yep.
So
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we're all in agreement that this was at least more entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's better, I don't know if you can say that. But
I mean, I think you said it best, where Dracula was definitely put together more as a film,
Like a story and
Yeah.
a film.
where it also had a more concise end, which is saying a lot.
oh yeah, the end of this is so like okay, so you know, the monster like gets burned to death in the windmill thing, or like, well, you know, supposedly I presume because there's all these sequels, and it's actually not true, but like, you know, at least as of this film, that's how it ends, and then it's just like here's all these like servant women walking up to like the Frankenstein's dad and be like, here's some wine, and he's like, okay, and then drinks it. Like, that's it. It's like, what?
I don't understand why that was the ending.
It's such a random ending. It makes no sense. Oh, good lord.
They should have just like at the end of like while they were panning out from the windmill burning, like da 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 da.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, honestly, if that was the ending shot, they just kind of held it on the burning windmill, and then that like faded out into the end. Like, I think that would.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
That would
would've
have been
fine.
perfect.
Yeah, it's just kind of. That's just weird. I don't know.
Because Dracula ended in the crypt, so.
Oh yeah.
Eh.
Yeah, and even because the Dracula thing also felt a little bit weird, just because like there was this sort of awkward minute or so after like they'd actually taken them out, where they were just kind of standing around. So whereas this, if it ended right with the windmill burning, then that you wouldn't even have that, right? So
Yeah.
it's just kind of, I don't know, odd decisions, but oh well, whatever. It was entertaining, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
So what's next?
yeah.
Yeah. What is next?
Well, I guess I'll say it since I'll be announcing this next one. Next up, we are going to... Well, I'm not sure, actually. I presume Egypt, because of how the story goes, but I don't know what they're going to say. So yeah, but anyway, we're watching The Mummy. And
The original Mummy.
Yes, this one this one is the one that I was particularly curious how the set design's gonna be for.
I'm also
this.
curious because we did see, well, not the original Mummy, but we saw a sequel of
Oh
the Mummy.
yeah,
The Brendan Fraser Mummy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like nothing about that movie.
I don't remember anything. All I remember is that they were in China. I
Oh
think.
yeah,
For some reason.
yeah. Because it was the whole like, wasn't it like the Terracotta Warriors kind of thing or something?
I think so.
I think so.
Maybe.
I remember like nothing about the plot or characters.
I forgot we even watched that movie.
Yeah, very very forgettable. But yeah, Abby Kelly's kind of curious. And also, it's different because at least because Frankenstein, well, you know, it's I guess German, and
Yeah.
you know, Dracula is well, what, Romanian? I guess that's what Transylvania is now.
Yeah.
So
I suppose
they're
so.
both still like European, right? Whereas you know,
Mhm.
the Mummy, at least you would think isn't, but it's I mean I don't know. Is this actually based on like an actual book, The Mummy? Because the
I
other
have no idea.
that's like
No, I think it's based off of like, okay, so there is, I might not be getting this completely right, but from what I understand, when they discovered like Tutankhamun, I'm not pronouncing his, King Tut's tomb, that was in the early like 1900s, late 1800s. I could be getting that date wrong too, but in any case, like some of the people got sick and stuff like that, so they were like, "Oh my God, it's the mummy's curse because this was his tomb and everything." So that's, I guess, kind of where it came from. Where it's like, "Oh, what if the mummies actually are alive?" Because I guess they're essentially zombies when you think about it.
Mhm.
Right.
So basically,
Yeah,
everyone's
no book.
terrified of the undead, is what we're understanding.
Yeah, actually, you're totally right. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, inspired by the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922.
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
Very contemporary to the time.
Yep. It's kind of like, I guess, the equivalent of how there was the Titanic movie after they discovered the Titanic.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, that's funny. Apparently, they specifically were looking for a book that actually would be related to this, but then they like couldn't find one, so they're just like, "Oh well."
We have to do it on our own.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it is interesting then how this kind of stuff like puts these put like the mummy up as a monster that's equivalent to like Dracula and Frankenstein's monster, you know. So
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but anyway, so next up is the mummy, and you will
Whoa.
see if it's could it be more entertaining than this? Who knows? We'll find
Maybe.
out in a
Who
week.
knows?
Oh boy.
Alrighty. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Oh bye.